Hi everyone, it's your librarian Melissa. Today I will be reading you excerpts from the book The Reason I Jump by Naoki Higashida. Higashida was born in 1992 and was diagnosed with severe autism when he was 5 years old. He then learned how to communicate using a handmade alphabet grid, and when he was 13 years old, he wrote The Reason I Jump. In this book, he answers a series of questions that he's been asked a lot as a person with autism, and the book really provides personal insight into his inner thoughts and feelings as he lives with autism, and he also addresses some of the misconceptions that people have had. Higashida has authored several other books and is an advocate and motivational speaker. So let's get started and hear what Higashida has to say in his own words. Why do you ask the same questions over and over? It's true, I always ask the same questions. What day is it today? Or, is it a school day tomorrow? Simple matters like these I ask again and again. I don't repeat my question because I didn't understand. In fact, even as I'm asking, I know I do understand. The reason why? Because I very quickly forget what it is I've just heard. Inside my head, there really isn't such a big difference between what I was told just now and what I heard a long, long time ago. So I do understand things, but my way of remembering them works differently from everyone else's. I imagine a normal person's memory is arranged continuously, like a line. My memory, however, is more like a pool of dots. I'm always picking up these dots by asking my questions, so I can arrive back at the memory that the dots represent. But there's another reason for our repeated questioning. It lets us play with words. We aren't good at conversation, and however hard we try, we'll never speak as effortlessly as you do. The big exception, however, is words or phrases we're familiar with. Repeating these is great fun. It's like a game of catch with a ball. Unlike the words we're ordered to say, repeating questions we already know the answers to can be a pleasure. It's playing with sound and rhythm. Why don't you make eye contact when you're talking? True, we don't look at people's eyes very much. Look whoever you're talking with properly in the eye, I've been told, again and again and again, but I still can't do it. To me, making eye contact with someone I'm talking to feels a bit creepy, so I tend to avoid it. Then where exactly am I looking? You might well suppose that we're just looking down or at the general background, but you'd be wrong. What we're actually looking at is the other person's voice. Voices may not be visible things, but we're trying to listen to the other person's voice with all of our sense organs. When we're fully focused on working out what the heck it is you're saying, our sense of sight sort of zones out. If you can't make out what you're seeing, it's the same as not seeing anything at all. What's bothered me for a long time is this idea people have that so long as we're keeping eye contact while they're talking to us, that alone means we're taking in every word. Ha! If only that was all it took, my disability would have been cured a long, long time ago. Do you find childish language easier to understand? Children with autism are also growing and developing every single day. Yet, we are forever being treated like babies. I guess this is because we seem to act younger than our true age, but whenever anyone treats me as if I'm still a toddler, it really hacks me off. I don't know whether people think I'll understand baby language better, or whether they think I just prefer being spoken to in that way. I'm not asking you to deliberately use difficult language when you talk to people with autism, just that you treat us as we are, according to our age. Every single time I'm talked down to, I end up feeling utterly miserable, as if I'm being given zero chance of a decent future. True compassion is about not bruising the other person's self-respect. That's what I think, anyway. When you're on one of your highs, what's going through your mind? Sometimes people with autism start laughing like a hyena or appear to be having enormous fun on their own without any obvious reason for it. You must be wondering, what on earth's gotten into him? At times like these, we're having imaginings. We're not quite imaginings, but we experience pictures or scenes in our minds that pop up out of nowhere. Maybe it's the memory of something that made us laugh, or maybe it's a page from a book we read. This might be hard for you to understand, but try to see these highs as a stronger version of those times when you remember something funny and can't help but chuckle about it. Why do you make a huge fuss over tiny mistakes? When I see I've made a mistake, my mind shuts down. I cry, I scream, I make a huge fuss, and I just can't think straight about anything anymore. However tiny the mistake, for me it's a massive deal, as if heaven and earth have been turned upside down. For example, if I pour water into a glass, I can't stand it if I spill even a drop. It must be hard for you to understand why this could make me so unhappy, and even to me, I know really that it's not such a big deal, but it's almost impossible for me to keep my emotions contained. Once I've made a mistake, the fact of it starts rushing toward me like a tsunami. I get destroyed by the shock. I get swallowed up in the moment and I can't tell the right response from the wrong response. All I know is that I have to get out of the situation as soon as I can so I don't drown. To get away, I'll do anything. Crying, screaming, and throwing things, hitting out even. Finally, I'll calm down and come back to myself. Then I see no sign of the tsunami attack, only the wreckage I've made. And when I see that, I hate myself. I just hate myself. Why do you like spinning? Us people with autism often enjoy spinning ourselves around and around. We like spinning whatever object comes to hand for that matter. Can you understand what's so much fun about spinning? Everyday scenery doesn't rotate, so things that do spin simply fascinate us. Just watching spinning things fills us with a sort of everlasting bliss for the time we sit watching them. They rotate with perfect regularity. Whatever object we spin, this is always true. Unchanging things are comforting, and there's something beautiful about that. Do you like commercials on TV? This is a difficult one. I'm not quite sure what the answer is. If you figure that we must like TV commercials just because the slogans and catchphrases roll off our tongue so easily, that wouldn't be the full story. We remember them as well as we do because they're on so often, and sure, we dash to the TV when a familiar commercial comes on. We enjoy watching the ones we know well. How come you people without autism aren't that keen on TV commercials? They're on again and again and again, after all. So isn't seeing them a bit like being visited by an old and dear friend? I'm not a big fan of TV commercials in and of themselves, but when a familiar ad comes on, I get quite excited about it. This is because when a familiar one comes on, I already know what it's talking about, and I feel sort of soothed knowing that they never last for long. The reason why we look happy to your eyes while we're watching TV ads must be that at all other times we're less stable and calm and our faces are blanker. Perhaps what you're getting when you look at us watching commercials on the TV is a brief glimpse of the real us. What's the reason you jump? What do you think I'm feeling when I'm jumping up and down clapping my hands? I bet you think I'm not really feeling anything much beyond the manic glee all over my face. But when I'm jumping, it's as if my feelings are going up towards the sky. Really, my urge to be swallowed up by the sky is enough to make my heart quiver. When I'm jumping, I can feel my body parts really well too, my bounding legs and my clapping hands, and that makes me feel so good. So that's one reason why I jump, and recently I've noticed another reason. People with autism react physically to feelings of happiness and sadness. So when something happens that affects me emotionally, my body seizes up as if it's struck by lightning. Seizing up doesn't mean that my muscles literally get stiff and immobile. Rather, it means that I'm not free to move the way I want. So by jumping up and down, it's as if I'm shaking loose the ropes that are tying up my body. When I jump, I feel lighter, and I think the reason my body is drawn skyward is that the motion makes me want to change into a bird and fly off to some faraway place. But constrained by both ourselves and by the people around us, all we can do is tweet tweet, flap our wings, and hop around in a cage. Ah, if only I could just flap my wings and soar away into the big blue yonder over the hills and far away. To read more from The Reason I Jump, have a look at our ebook collection on the Overdrive and Libby app where you may check it out.